Hi, welcome to Hold the Light, a show for lifelong learners who are curious about the ways we can deepen our connection to our personal and spiritual growth. I'm Lori Gunning-Grossman. I'm here to hold the light for the light holders of the world. Don't you just love when you meet someone and there is an instant connection? So that's what happened with today's guest, Orly Altaras. Orly is a psychic medium who lives in Los Angeles, which is also my hometown. However, we met in an online community, and it's funny because I can't really remember all the details of our meeting, but it was just one of those things where we somehow connected online. We came together, we chatted, we did an Instagram Live together, and because that was so much fun, we ended up hosting an in-person New Moon Circle together. And we've just been champions of each other since. As a psychic medium, Orly offers one-on-one sessions with people, helping them to connect with loved ones on the other side. She also does small group readings, and she leads classes on how to tap into your intuition. And she is also the owner of Lara Lou, an online shop that provides goods and services for your spirit and home. Orly has such a beautiful spirit. You'll hear that in this conversation. She shares some tips on how we can strengthen our intuition and also share some beautiful stories around tuning in to the signs and synchronicities that are all around us. And so, here's my conversation with Orly. Hi, girl.
Hi.
I'm so excited. Hey, look, I'm holding up this crystal. I have a rose quartz crystal because I heard that rose quartz is also good for communication. I know it's for like open heart and love. Is it good for communication as well, Orly?
Probably.
I feel like it is.
It's definitely good for love and open heart. So,
well, I have an open heart for you.
I do too.
This is not our first rodeo together. We met through a group and immediately connected somehow, some way. We found each other through this huge group of people. And we've chatted. We've done a workshop together in person. We've done a live on Instagram together. And now we're here on this podcast.
And I'm so excited to be here. I also have my crystal here.
Ooh, okay. Which one are you holding up?
It's also quartz, actually.
I love it.
Yeah.
We got the good vibes going on, Orly.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's get right into it.
Okay, yeah.
Let's do it. So I wanted to talk with you because, number one, as I said before, I have an open heart for you, and I adore you as a person and also as the work that you are doing and putting out in the world. So you work as a psychic medium. That's one of the things that you do. And you help people connect with their loved ones who have transitioned and are on the other side. So before we get into this, what I'd love for you to do is share a little bit about how you came upon this gift.
Oh, great. I'd love to share. I also want to just say that I truly believe that we meet certain people on our path for a reason. I don't know, something also in meeting you drew me in, the energy, and, we're here, we help each other on our journeys, and it's just lovely. I'm so happy that, we're just continuing on the journey here.
Same.
For me, I've always been very spiritual and always looking for big answers. Since I was a kid, I was very running around and thinking I can do stuff with energy and just a kid who's exploring. And very quickly, there's certain moments in my life that looking back, I now understand. But at 9 years old, I watched a movie. My mom told me, at the movie, these people passed away at an early age. And I just was like, what? We don't die. I know we don't die. There was a knowing inside that knew that we're eternal beings. And I freaked out. I had a very strong reaction to it because, again, I was just always very connected to something bigger, I guess, which we all are. And then my father passed away. Looking back, I could see the dots that connect everything. So a few months before he passed, I watched a show about talking to your spirit guides. And the person had mentioned to speak out loud. So when my father passed, I guess I remembered this. And on the week of mourning, a lot of crazy things happened. Like the day we buried him, there was a huge outage in the house, like an explosion of sound. Like the lights went out, went up again. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy, like a huge power outage. And I know that sometimes they can come through that way. And my dad told my sister, if there's something beyond this physical realm, if there's something, I will let you know. I will let you guys know. And so that was like one of many things that happened. But ultimately, what had happened was I was sitting in his room, remembering all of a sudden, oh, speak out loud. And I was like, Abba, if you're here, just show me that you're here. You know, I was in a very, very meditative state. And all of a sudden, felt like I was hearing him in my inner ear. It was like, I understood how they communicate with us because I was hearing all this stuff and I was like, wait a second, is this just my thoughts? Like, what the heck is going on? And I started asking him, like, show me something I don't know. Like, if this is not just me hearing a voice, like, and he showed me in my mind's eye. I mean, I can go into detail, Lori. I don't know how much of it you want.
Give us some detail.
Some detail. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was like, Abba, show me something. Cause in that moment, I was like, oh my gosh. He like showed me in my mind's eye a butterfly. I did a tattoo when I was 18 years old with him of a monarch butterfly on my leg, which was a symbol for me. And he showed me in my mind's eye the butterfly. And he's like, this is the sign for me whenever you see it. And then I said, okay, then show me something I don't know. And he showed me in my mind's eye, and I'll explain that a bit later, but in my imagination, basically, I saw an image of a yellow plastic folder and an image of my brother. And I was like, what is this? A plastic folder and my brother. I had no idea what it meant, but he said, go to my drawer. He had like a desk, go to the second drawer, open up the drawer. So I open up the second drawer. I'm looking inside, and all of a sudden I come across a yellow plastic passport folder with my brother's picture inside.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. I had no idea it was there. Here's a yellow plastic folder. I had to put two and two together. Like he's showing me in kind of like a sign language, explaining to me what I'm going to find. And then my mind went to like, well, maybe I knew it was there already. Maybe these are just my thoughts. But that opened up the gates for me to be like, I understand how they communicate. And I started just practicing with friends, and information just started to come through for like, your grandfather, he looked like this and he's showing me this, and getting confirmation. I felt like I had come home to who I am my whole life. And I just wasn't allowing it to come through because I thought it was just thoughts in my head. And it wasn't. I always had these thoughts and things, not necessarily also with spirit. I just all of a sudden that portal like kind of opened up. I understood how it worked. Yeah.
This is wild. I love this story so much. I guess what I'm so curious about is, why did you allow yourself to open this portal, I guess? I guess maybe I'm also wondering, like, how can others do this that maybe kind of feel something throughout their lives? They feel like little nudges and little voices, but we often might just dismiss them. What allowed you in this moment to just like open this portal or lift the veil, however you call it? What do you think it was?
I feel like it was an element of two things. When I look back, I'm like, I was in such a meditative state, I call it, meaning my ego was completely aside. And I know that's part of the process of putting myself, Orly, the human self, aside. And I didn't care in the moment of what other people thought. It was the first time in my life where I wasn't in a people-pleasing mode. Like so many people were in our house that day. And I was just in my dad's room, and I didn't care if I come out, I don't come out. I was so in my own internal world. So I do believe that part of this process happening for ourselves is that we're just going within. We're truly leaving the outside world outside so that you can hear, so that you can receive. And it was a big aha moment because I think I was very focused on the external and doing things. I allowed myself. I gave myself permission. It was also, I had experienced some mystical things in my past, and my dad kind of was afraid for me. I think he was very protective of me, and like knowing that maybe I have this, I tend to dream and be a big dreamer and like wander, right? And when this happened, it felt to me like a gift. He was like, you were right all along, kind of. Or what I knew in my heart, I allowed myself to be free, because there's also like, oh my God, people are going to think I'm crazy. This is crazy. That was a big thing for me in actually coming out and being like, this is what I do. It's been a huge process of just, it feels like coming out of the, like the spiritual closet. I don't know what people kind of say, but just allowing myself to just be who I am.
Yeah.
I do believe everyone has this ability, but we've kind of forgotten. We never are taught this. I was like, why isn't everybody doing this? What the heck? Like, especially in receiving guidance for yourself. So it's the same place, I think, from my experience. That's when I started playing around. I'm like, if I'm receiving from my dad information or from other people's loved ones, there's higher guidance here. How can I start receiving that guidance for myself? There's something that's guiding me. How am I tapping in? I started, wanting to put words to it. What am I tapping into? How do we do this? What is it actually? It's actually our intuition. So that's why I say it's like, it's almost like this, it's our sixth sense.
Yeah.
So when we're able to differentiate between regular thoughts, that is like just the brain thinking, this frontal part, and the whispers that come in, it comes in as whispers, it comes in as a little nudge. So I can go into that too a little bit, but that's the guidance. When we start listening to it, like magic just starts to happen. So I just started exploring. I was like, this is crazy. I started asking signs for my dad. I started saying, can you show me a butterfly? And then 2 days later, a butterfly would show up at a certain moment. And I was like, my thoughts are becoming things. There's something in the energy here, and creating and receiving. It's a really like, we're a receiver, literally antennas on our brain, receiving information. We just have to let it in.
That's right. That's right. Well, I do want to talk about intuition. We will get to that, and ways that you could possibly suggest for people to tune into their intuition, maybe like a couple tools or things that they can do. So I want to talk about that. I do want to talk about signs and synchronicities, of course. But before we even get to that, so now you have like lifted this veil that not only can you talk to your father or get messages from your father. Did you call him Abba?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's so sweet. You are able to tap into other people's loved ones. And I'm imagining that once you lifted the veil to be able to do that, it's also like a muscle. I mean, all of these things are muscles, right, that we're building, like tapping into our intuition and everything. So how has that been for you? Is it wild? And how are you hearing or experiencing loved ones who have crossed over?
It is wild. It's a wild ride. When I look back to, I'm like, in the beginning, because I trusted it. I trusted that this is what I feel like I want to do. It gave me comfort. It also brought comfort to other people. And I was wanting to explore it. So I took a class, and I found my spiritual teachers who kind of helped me understand how it works. The way I was receiving it is mostly through my mind's eye, meaning I'm clairvoyant. So I see the imagery. So this is what it feels like, a thought or a vision that comes in that doesn't feel like my own. And that's how I can tell that this is not my own thought. This is someone else imprinting that onto the internal screen that I have.
Oh.
And so I see it in my mind, and they start showing me things, and all I have to do is say what I'm seeing. Sometimes it's literal, like a piece of jewelry that belonged to that person. They could show me what they look like. They start describing themselves. What's happened over time with practice, like you say, it's totally a muscle and a practice. You have to practice this because you start learning how to interpret this language. It's a language of spirit. So if at first it was just like images that I would just say what I'm seeing, it also depends on the person's openness and also the loved one, if they know how to deliver the message. Sometimes for them, it's like, oh, they get so excited because they want to pass over. And it takes a little bit of like understanding what they mean. That's why I sometimes need the person I'm reading for, does this make sense to you? Do you understand this? Because it'll bring up a memory that they have. For example, they'll show me like a bunny rabbit, right? Or like a stuffed animal.
Mm.
And I'll just say it. And the person's like, I used to have this bunny rabbit,
Yeah.
that's the confirmation also that comes through. So I see it in my mind's eye through clairvoyance. I also hear. So this one, because I don't trust it yet enough, again, because it's a muscle, the more I trust them, the more they're going to use my different clairs. So I've been telling them, okay, I trust you, but I haven't developed that one as much, which is hearing names, for example. So I can hear names or I can hear sounds. And when I let myself, again, let go of what the person thinks or how they'll perceive this, I allow myself to make mistakes. And that's really important in practice too, when you're practicing with your friends, for example. Just allowing yourself to say what you're hearing, seeing, sensing. It's through our senses. So for me, I do hear names. It sounds like a whisper in my own voice. It's not like I'm Bob or something. It's like my own internal whisper, but I do hear it in externally, meaning it's not my own thought. So usually I'll just say the first letter of the name, for example, and then I sense. So it's claircognizance, clear knowing. We have 5 different clairs, just like we have our 5 different senses. So you can experience it through a sensation or a feeling that they're giving me. They'll make me feel the sensation of what they want to relay, or they'll talk about something through an image. They'll give me the sensation. So it's a few of the things coming together for me to relay the message to the person in full. But that's truly developed over time. At first, it was just the imagery. It's developed over time.
Yeah. I love this thought that it is a muscle, because I feel like maybe sometimes people might be like, and I'm just checking with my own thoughts about this, like, well, if you have this ability, you should know right away, the names and all this stuff. But that's not fair. It's like, I'm just thinking about like when people learn how to play music, or when they're writing, or they're creating a film, or anything where we all say to each other, you got to start somewhere and you have to learn. And maybe when you're writing a song, sometimes you have to write like 100 bad or okay songs until you get to that one that's like, the heart-opening song. So it makes sense that as people are opening up to this type of gift and tapping into the spirit and something else, that we give each other or a person that leeway to grow it, or like to build that muscle. And maybe not everything is like right off the bat. And yet that's just the part of the whole learning experience. And maybe even to tell ourselves that, like, I wouldn't go around at all saying like, I can connect with, my loved ones on the other side. Now, you might be like, well, of course you can, but I don't know that about myself. And so, just the thought of like, well, maybe if I'm open to it, it's a muscle that I can start to build so I can have a conversation with my dad and connect.
Completely 100%. And I do believe we all can. It's just a matter of learning how to start to communicate with them. And also, like a piano, everyone can learn how to play the piano. Some people have an extra talent, maybe, this was explained to me. You can develop it and become really good at it with practice, but we all have intuition 100%. It's also a calling. If you feel called to it, like I would have loved to learn the piano, but it doesn't mean that I necessarily want to become like this musician. It takes practice. It takes like this soul purpose feeling that you have inside. But even someone who, let's say, doesn't have, isn't talented can completely become a professional, beautiful, talented piano over time, I believe.
That's right.
It has to do with your purpose and calling as well as your curiosity. But in terms of our ability to connect with them, it's just a matter of wishing and wanting it. And they're there always. They're like this quiet, like, if you want to connect, we're here. Just make that first connection and we will show you. Like they will, once you open the door, they're like, the floods can come in. And I just want to add too, that because we all can tap into this place, this higher place, this internal, flood of information that can come through, it comes to us through different mediums. So yes, I am the vessel for perhaps connecting loved ones with their loved ones, but musician can hear. You were talking about like music. Sometimes it takes me I can write 5 songs and I'm in it, But sometimes you can get the song that just like all of a sudden you get the words of the song come in very quickly, divine inspiration. And that's another way that it can come through. But I do feel like we are different mediums. We have poets and writers and musicians, artists. It's all coming through. It's information coming through us, the creativity coming through. And when you let it, it can come in many forms.
Yeah.
I connect with this. It opens up my heart. So possibly that's why they're like lining up and the
Oh my
synchronicities that
gosh.
happen in meeting people. It just happens
Yeah.
for me in that way.
Yes. Hey guys, just a quick break to let you know that I'm offering free meditations and affirmations on my website. Simply go to holdthelightcollective.com/free-meditations. There you can download audio tracks such as my Illuminate Your Light meditation or Deep Breathing for Peace. You'll also have access to my I Am Affirmations customizable tool, where you can create your own audio track, choosing from over 250 words, such as I am light, I am fearless, or I am loved. Use the promo code FREE. Visit holdthelightcollective.com/free-meditations. So if it's someone like me who is not a psychic medium, but perhaps would love to connect with, say, my dad or even my uncle who's on the other side, what are some ways that I could open up that line of communication?
Okay. And I will say too, just Lori, like it took me a really long time to say I'm a psychic medium, just putting it out there, because it started from this curiosity. And there's still this thing that I fight against, was like, we all are. We truly all are. Like we can all do this. Maybe it's at different levels. I don't know. I'm not the one who's going to say like, but in our ability to do this, first and foremost, I would say, yes, speak out loud. Because when you speak out loud, let's say you're in your car. I know it can be weird to like talk out loud to yourself, you know, when there's maybe a lot of people around, but find the time to speak out loud. Because when you do that, it's almost sending out the signal like, I believe that you're here. I'm trusting that you're here and I can receive back from you. So start that line of communication, speaking out loud. Asking for a sign is one of my favorite ways. So look for a sign that's like really out there, not like just a regular monarch butterfly. Like ask for a purple butterfly or purple elephant and ask for it to show up within 24 to 48 hours and let it go. Like forget about it if you can. And be surprised at the way it will show up. It has to do a little bit with our belief also, but they will show up in the most miraculous ways. Like, and you might not see it literally as a purple butterfly. You might see it on a person's shirt, that all of a sudden they're wearing a purple butterfly on their shirt. It could show up on in a TV show, but usually it'll also come with the sensation where like, oh my God, there it is, because it'll come along with something else that has to do with your loved one. It'll make sense to you immediately. So asking for a sign, asking for it to show up in your dreams, asking out loud, can you come in my dream? And if they show up in your dream within the next 24 to 48 hours, it's just their way of being able to communicate. So they communicate to us through the signs. They use, I guess, the electromagnetic field of animals like butterflies. You know how there's bats also that use like that field, so they can manipulate it for some reason. But a song on the radio, like I have a beautiful example of going with my mom. My mom was visiting and we all went, the whole family, to this fountain in like the Grove, you know how there's that like, and we were thinking just of my father in that moment. And we come up to the fountain. We're like, let's go throw a coin in the fountain with the kids. And all of a sudden, my mom's song was my dad and mom's song, Moon River, started playing. And my mom just started crying. And I felt it too. So coincidence, maybe, but it was like their song. And so we just got extremely emotional. It was like, it's Moon River playing for my, you know, my dad. It's just the way it can come through. And I have a gazillion examples. So asking for a sign, you know, asking for a dream, for them to show up in a dream, pay attention to songs that come in the radio. You know, you could open up a book all of a sudden and find a specific like quote that your dad used to say and it falls out of a book or someone is wearing that shirt, you just have to pay attention. We have to become aware of how it shows up in our reality. So someone also may walk by that looks exactly like your dad, for example, like wearing the same kind of hat. And all of a sudden you remember it's also a way that he's coming through and being like, pay attention. Like that does look like me. It is me. Say hi. So if you just acknowledge it in the beginning and be like, that was him, that was a sign from him. Also through our sense of smell, I just want to mention as well. So if you're walking along, for example, these are just some ways they communicate with us. We just have to start to pay attention. So, you know how sometimes like you'll get a whiff of smell that brings up a memory of that person. It's happening in that moment for a reason because they are around you. They're just with you. So sometimes I'll be walking and getting this real strong sensation of the grass my grandfather used to mow the lawn. And I'll be like, oh, why am I smelling this now? And it's like, oh, hi, like my grandfather's possibly there. And then I can start developing the relationship, like speaking them and then possibly seeing what the answer is. And so one other last way is automatic writing. So if you just put a question out to your loved one, you can even place your name on the page and be like, Orly, I have my question for my father, and then put down his name and just see what I think he's saying. Like that's how I describe it, because it'll feel like it's just you writing. But if you continuously do this and just start listening, you'll start to notice it might not be actually your own thought. And don't like discard and be like, oh, this is just me. Truly just start having the conversation on the page because information can come through. And I have a beautiful example for that too with my dad. I just started doing that. He's like, I'll give you a gift tomorrow. And I was like, okay, this is weird, but okay. During those first times when I was practicing, I just did this on my own. The next day, though, I'll just share the small story and that's it. But the next day, after he had said to me, like, I'm going to send you a gift tomorrow, I went to get a facial at my cousin, you know, the woman who does my facials. And she has these cards. She always likes women to pull these cards at the end. So she all of a sudden at the end, she's like, Orly, do you want to pull a card? I'm like, okay, pull a card. And on the card, it says, to my beautiful daughter. And there's a monarch butterfly on the card. And it says, everything and it talked about granting abundance. And my dad had helped us when we moved to LA. So there was like even more in the message itself. This is crazy. And it took me a second. I was like, this is the gift. Can it be more clear? It was truly messages from God. Like, so to my daughter can be a message from God, but I knew it immediately with the butterfly. And then when I drove off that day, like in complete awe that this arrived, I drove off and I see a deli and it's in blue and white and it's called Sammy's Deli. And I was like, okay, if you needed more like reassurance that it's me and I'm here and I sent this, like, there you go. I'd never seen it before. I just drove by, saw his name and I was like, okay, thank you. Sometimes I ask to see his name, show me your name. And 2 days later, it'll appear. So it's just their way to communicate. Yeah.
This is so wonderful, and I'm going to start employing some of these ways to connect with my own dad. And here's one of the questions that I do have is, are our loved ones like waiting here like, hello, we've been waiting just to say hi and have connection? Are they patient? Are they like, it's been a long time since we've connected? What are they feeling?
I feel like they're just always here. I do feel like they're exploring those other worlds and like doing their thing. I also asked my dad when he first passed, I'm like, what is it like up there? Just describe it. And he said, I can be in two places at the same time because there's no space and time. He's like, I can be with your sister and I can be with you because it's all energy. We're energy. So when you call upon them, they will come in. They just will come in and truly start trusting what you're hearing, feeling, sensing. It's an opening of our senses to beyond the physical realm.
Yeah.
It's just tapping in. And when we tap into that place, it's your higher self because they'll use your intuition to send the messages. It's our intuitive senses. They send it through there. So when you're tapped into your intuition, your internal guidance system, your higher self. These are all words that to
Mm.
describe what it is we're tuning into. You start hearing, you can start listening to the nudge that says, call that friend, call that friend.
Yeah.
That might not be your loved one telling you this. It could be your dad like nudging you, but it could also be just your guides or loved ones or spirit, or God just nudging you. And then a second later, she calls,
Mm.
she might call. But
Yeah.
you have to understand that it's like, if we start listening to that internal whisper, truly magical things start to happen. It's synchronicities and
Yeah. So let me ask you a question then. You brought up tapping into our intuition. What are a few ways that we can build that muscle of tapping into our intuition so we can be more open and receive messages?
yeah. So and it's the same. Honestly, it's the
Mm.
same thing. It's first of all meditation. I remember my teacher asking me originally, like, "Are you meditating?" And I was like, "Well, I feel like I'm always in a meditative state." But he's like, "No, you have to make the time in order to connect. You're connecting, you're quieting the chatter, quieting the ego mind, or we have two parts of us. There's a rabbi who's explained this beautifully. We have our human soul, and then we have the divine soul. And um, there's so many explanations to it, but the human self, if we're able to put it aside, we're making room to receive the higher. It's like we're connected to consciousness, super consciousness.
Mm.
And that super consciousness knows everything. It knows, because there's no time and space. So it can guide us to our highest potential if we're able to make that connection and listen. And so one of the ways is automatic writing.
Okay.
Another way is to start paying attention to those little thoughts that come in that sometimes don't make sense, but like, go for a walk, because on that walk, you may meet someone, right, who can then lead you to your next step. You can ask for what you are wishing for example, and wait for the answer. The universe, it takes time for the universe, for your higher self to kind of say, oh, this is what you want. Let me create the circumstances so that it can come into existence. It's in our awareness. So part of that is becoming aware of the thoughts you're having. Again, meditation helps in sifting through the thoughts that are limiting and just being able to listen. You have to start to notice, what does my intuition sound like?
Yes.
What does that whisper sound like? It's a practice
Yeah.
of just going out in life and being like, this feels like a thought that's recurring that's not getting me anywhere, but this feels like a good feeling thought, a good feeling thought. So, just in general, when I looked up the definition, actually brought it in today, but like the definition of intuition is a natural ability or power that makes it possible to know something without any proof or evidence. So it's a feeling that guides a person to act a certain way without fully understanding why, knowing what that feels like.
Yeah.
The knowing, the feeling. I don't feel good about this. I don't feel good about doing this.
Yeah.
And I just want to give, because right before we got on the call, Lori, I
Yeah.
just listened to something. I was like, oh, what a coincidence that I'm like getting all these amazing little things of how synchronicity. So in terms of the feeling, it could be like you want to sign on a home, for example. You want to move home and you're not sure if you should do it or not. Sometimes the universe will help you make the decision. You don't have to like struggle, because let's say your car doesn't start that morning. And then when you get to the house, the neighbors are yelling, and like you go in, you're getting all the signs that this is not good. This is a specific story actually, where the person then ended up not signing on the house. They were late. They got there late. So it's almost like you can let go also and trust that what's not meant for you, you're going to receive the signs that it's not meant to you. You're the one who has to pick up on the signal. It's picking up on the signal that, does this feel good and right for me, in alignment? Usually when you're trusting your intuition, it just feels good. You feel light, you feel happy, you feel excited. Things start to flow more easily.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I've heard that about intuition, where if you're hearing that voice, the intuitive voice, it's never like mean, or it's never like telling you bad things. Like that's more of our ego, but like, oh no, be scared of that. It's more of that loving voice, that caring direction. which is what I try to remember. But I love what you said, though, Orly, that like, number one, meditation, so we can tune into ourselves and quiet down the noise. And I'm telling you, the guides that I speak to in all different areas of being a guide in, like, say, the spiritual world or even personal growth and development, it comes down to meditation over and over. Everyone I speak to, it's about being silent and stillness and getting quiet. Now, maybe some people, meditation is like walking in nature, not listening to anything, but like listening to nature. So I love that. I love that reminder. And then, also the self-awareness. That's something that I come back to, and I try to remember. I try to be self-aware about being self-aware so we can notice the thoughts that are in our heads, and whether it's like the helpful thought or that, maybe a loop of something that's like driving us crazy, but self-awareness.
Exactly. And yes, you described it perfectly. And then when you start to pay attention, oh, that's my ego. Oh, that's actually the intuition, which is always kind, always loving, just like your loved ones. They're always going to be loving and kind and wanting for your highest and best.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm telling you already in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to take a walk today and I'm going to talk out loud and invite my dad in. And
see, that's when I get the nudge of like, oh my gosh. But it's just funny how the information just starts to flow. And, because they want to come in and they want to. And just also, you were saying about, I don't know how much time we have, but it's 11:11.
I see that. Oh my God.
Which is another way, by the way, is that if you see a certain number, a repetitive number, there's a reason why you're seeing that. And just ask, why am I seeing this now? It usually has to do with the thought you just had.
Which was my dad.
Right. So that could be him winking and saying hello, right?
Yeah.
And just ask, why am I seeing this? There could be a larger answer to that. Also, animals that come, that's why nature and meditation you had mentioned, they have messages that they want to relay as well. So it's all about understanding that God shows up here and now in our reality. And we just have to open ourselves up to understanding that when I see a hummingbird, it's not a coincidence. It could be my loved one signaling. It could be a message for me to pay attention more to something. So that's the way they communicate. It's through nature. It's through poetry. It's through that song. It's God is in here. Our awareness is the key to understanding that there's more. It's literally more here.
Yeah. Oh, it's so beautiful, Orly. So it's our having the self-awareness and the present moment awareness of noticing the signs and the synchronicities, right, as our guideposts to messages, to
knowing that we're supported. Yeah.
Yeah. To knowing we're supported. That's so beautiful because I love thinking of signs and synchronicities that way and not so much like, should I take this job or not? Show me a blue butterfly. I like it knowing as more of a being supported and maybe feeling like we're not alone in this world. Do you ever use signs and synchronicities that way, though, where you're like, should I buy this house or should I not? Do you use it that way too?
I use it definitely for if I need confirmation, if this is the right path for me. Yes, I'll use it. I talk with them that way. I'm like, show me, right? Or for example, I asked to have help in something and then the help shows up and I'm just aware of it. So I'm grateful because I'm aware of what I'm asking, of what I'm unsure of, like, help me. And they truly will come in and give the guidance. It's in our belief system and believing that it can be of help. The yes and no questions are a little problematic. It's the same with tarot. You don't want to be asking yes and no questions.
Right.
It's more like, what's the highest and best for me? Or what do I need to know now? With yes and no, it's a feeling inside. You know how you can feel good when something feels right. Sometimes we just don't know. Like, I just don't, I'm indecisive. So then you can start to develop more questions like, show me the signs so that I know that I'm on the right path.
I love that. That's good.
Show me the red balloon so that I know that this is the right decision for me. Show me something that will let me know that this is a yes so that it feels good. Because then over time, you'll already know what the yes feels like with your guides. That's why sometimes I just ask them and they'll give me the sensation that it's a yes or it's a no. It's them. For me, it's my guides, but you're developing that relationship. So again, you're developing that relationship with, you want to call it your guides, you want to call it your loved one who's there, or God giving you the answer.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. Orly, I could talk to you forever and ever. And I still have more questions, but for the sake of this podcast, I just have one more, and you and I will continue to talk. But as we are wrapping it up, is there anything that you would love for people who are listening to take away, to know, to feel, or to believe from either this conversation that you've touched upon or haven't yet? What would you love for them to know?
I would just love for people to know that we are truly guided and supported, and that there's truly more to life than meets the eye. And if you start and allow yourself to ask for that sign, have a thought, be aware, and see how things can truly come to be by trying, by just start practicing, because it builds your belief system. And then the more you believe, the more it happens, the more you see it, the more the communication grows. Just like we said in the beginning, it's practice. The more life just becomes this magical playing field. You start trusting and knowing that they do exist. They are here. They are helping us, and that you don't have to live life in this struggle, that things can come with ease. It also gives comfort. It's nice to know that you're being kind of shown where, you can feel the most comfortable and wonderful and not have to struggle so much. Rebecca Rosen, she's another medium, and she says, praying is asking and meditating is receiving. So it's that process of praying, but then also receiving. And in the receiving, that's where we have to practice to receive the signs and receive the information, to open ourselves up to receiving. So that's like opening up that book and getting that quote in the morning to uplift your soul.
It's beautiful. That's so beautiful. I love that. It makes life feel like there is magic around us.
Can I share one tiny quick story? Because I feel like it was a reason why I heard it this morning, and I have to share that.
Okay, go.
Anthony Hopkins was doing a movie. This is years ago. It was called The Girl from Petrovka. And he wanted to read the book. So he was about to film the movie, wanted to read the book, and he could not find this book. So he goes to the local library. The library, for hours, he's sitting there, could not find this book. They said it's out of print. He was getting frustrated, and he left. And on the way home, he took the subway home. And as he's on the subway, there's a man in front of him, like scrambling quickly, gets off the subway, and he leaves a book on the subway thing. He goes to see it, and it's the book. It's The Girl from Petrovka book right there for him. And he's like in awe and shock. A few months later, after they film the movie, he meets the writer of the book, and he tells him this story that he found the book. And the writer says, I gave that book months ago to a friend, and he had mentioned to me how he had lost it on the subway. So there's like the circle of the universe is supporting us.
Oh, I love it. That is so beautiful. I got full body chills when you told that story. And we just need to keep our eyes open and be aware. And then that feeling of being supported and not so alone in the universe can be ours when we open up. Orly, thank you so much. I adore you. I appreciate you coming on this podcast with me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me the voice also to share the stories, because it's through that I feel like we hear, and we need to hear more of these magical stories to believe too. And really thank you for letting me share my voice.
Absolutely. Thank you. Okay, so I just love the stories that Orly shared, from her connecting with her dad after he passed to the Anthony Hopkins story about the book. I mean, I got several chills during our conversation together. When we open ourselves up to the divine, when we become self-aware, and when we say yes to honoring that we are guided and we're not alone, it does feel like there is magic all around us, if only we allow ourselves to see it and believe it. To learn more about Orly, find her on Instagram at Lara Lou. Orly's next online circle opens up in May, so reach out to her if you're interested in joining. And also go to her shop, laraandlou.com, where she offers soulful goods for your spirit, heart, and home. It's gorgeous what she offers there. In my final note here, I wanted to share that Orly is offering a discount code of 20% off, whether it's for her mediumship services or at her shop. Use the code LIGHT. Thank you for listening to Hold the Light. For more information about this episode and the topics discussed, visit our show notes or find more at holdthelightcollective.com or on Instagram at Hold the Light Collective. This podcast is produced by me, Lori Gunning Grossman. Jonathan Grossman is our co-producer and all-around sound guru. He also wrote the original music. This podcast is recorded and mixed at Night Shift Audio in Los Angeles, California. Finally, if you like the show, please rate, review, and share it with a friend. Let's share the light with each other.